here we go. Where were we? Did we finish answering the question? I think so. All right. Anyone have any questions? I saw Abby. Go ahead.
Hi. In like the other one I asked about how auditions went, but do you guys have any like auditioning tips or like hacks or something?
Yeah, the auditions for Kinky Boots were very odd because I'm friends with Harvey Firestein from Hairspray, and he Facebooked me one day just saying, "I miss you," and then 2 weeks later I got put into the reading, so it was very abnormal. And but I still had to audition probably a million times, trying to get promoted within the cast and trying to keep my job from one reading to the next. And it was brutal, to be honest. I still have some scars, but let's see. I mean, if you're an actress, who else is an actor, actress? Eli, you're an actor as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys probably know, so I don't want to tell you anything too obvious, but it's just getting comfortable with warming up your. For me, it starts with the breath, and then it goes with the physical stuff, and then it comes with the voice, and then you got to work on your material and getting it the repetition, so it's as close to memorized as you can. I guess the general thing is they want you to have your script with you, but you're better off, my opinion, if you don't need to look at it once you're in the room. But if you put the script down, it's like this weird thing where they expect something else from you. They always say, "Oh, well, you should have your pages," but I guess that's just in the early rounds of auditioning. But no hacks. It's probably, in my opinion, it's the hardest thing to get that spark every time you go in for the audition, and it's definitely tough, as you know.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
thank you.
Morgan said in the last room that every audition process is different. So I mean, I guess just like be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
Olivia, go ahead, and then Sarah.
Uh, like if you're going to audition for like really anything, not necessarily like just Broadway, if you have like an agent to help you with that, or like can you just go by yourself?
Yeah, it totally depends. If you guys, I don't, if you, one big suggestion is if you're able to go to college and study theater, try to look for one that has kind of a showcase, because that's a huge benefit. And when I, a million years ago, when I graduated college, we had a showcase from Syracuse, and that helped me get my first agent. And through that, I was able to get an audition for Rocky Horror, which was my first show. And then it all kind of starts from there. If you can get into a nice gig and you kind of get to meet people in the neighborhood, you don't always have to have an agent, because I've gone to tons of open calls through Equity, and you can go to the Equity open calls even if you're not. You're smiling. Have you experienced that? No, but yeah. I mean, you really hope you have a good agent. I don't have a good agent right now. Through all the years in Kinky Boots, I was not able to get the agent that I wanted. You could get somebody who can kind of get you the things that you don't really want necessarily, but it's tough. So
I
yeah.
had an agent or a manager who just sent me on an audition once a year, and it was so fun, spontaneous. He's like, "Oh, here's an audition for Eli," and I'm like, I mean, like you
Like,
haven't
who are
talked
you?
to us in a long time, but great.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very,
who's
very
next?
hard.
Sarah, yeah.
So I live in Florida
Very
and
nice. What part?
Tampa.
Oh, great. I got a lot of family in Sarasota.
Oh, cool. So, if I wanted to be on Broadway, I would probably have to like live near like New York, because that's where everything really happens. That's where Broadway is. So, and I would love to be born in New York and live there, but it's probably very low. So, were you born in there? Like, did you move there after college?
I was born on Long Island, a very close suburb to the city. So my mom was like a choreographer of all my high school shows. So I was connected to the arts, and she took us to see a lot of Broadway shows when I was young. Therefore, was exposed to it. So after college, I moved to home for just like 1 minute, and then I moved to Queens, which I just like the cheapest apartment I could find to be on a train line that was hopefully under 45 minutes to the city. But yeah, it's cool. It'll be amazing when you're ready to move. But also there's some great theaters down there. If you can, again, you probably already know this. I mean, to tell you something you already know, but if you can get into even like the Florida Studio Theater, like some like find a way to get some representation down there, get a couple credits, and then you come up here with something like that. It'll help you out so much.
Thank you.
Abby?
Sorry, last question. Do you like at this age, do you recommend an agent or do you think like to wait?
What's the general, are you guys in this, can you give me like a general range where you're at? Are you in college, high school? Where are you at?
I'm
You're
in
in-
seventh grade.
7th grade. Okay. I would recommend, I mean, unless you live near the city, like, you know, to Sarah's point, if you live near the city and you have the kind of lifestyle that could get you wanting to work full time on Broadway, then go for it. But strongly recommend just beefing up your skills, because it's all about stamina. It's all about being able to sing forever, dance forever and stuff. And I wish when I was your age doing theater, I loved theater. It was like my life. I knew I wanted to be an actor. I was dedicated, just like you guys must be. But I wasn't working on my skill. I had started taking voice lessons, and I think in 8th grade. And that's probably like the single best thing, because my voice is strong. And whether you like it or not, I could sing for a year of 8 shows a week, and I won't lose my voice or get damaged. I would just recommend take as many lessons as you can, and then go to college for theater if you can, because that's just my personal recommendation. But everybody has their own path.
Okay, thank you.
And then also to like add on to that question, how did you get your agent, and how can other people get them?
It's so like I think I mentioned, I don't know if it was this room or the other one, Syracuse had a good showcase, and I was able to do a scene and a song for an agent showcase in New York in the middle of our 2nd semester of senior year of college. And we were all, you know, we came down on a bus. It was an experience, and I got a medium small agent from that. Luckily, I had a few meetings from that. It was like, if you got 1 or 2 meetings, it was back then you had a service. Everyone had a 212 number that was like an answering service. And it was funny. I got my first cell phone was a senior year. I didn't even know what I was doing with it. That's how old I am. But yeah, so if you're lucky enough to get an agent through a showcase, that's the best. And then in my case, I got the agent, and then I got Rocky Horror after 9 callbacks of like being told I was not going to get it. And then somebody else had dropped out, and then I got the swing job. It was like not what I expected, but it was amazing. And then one of my best friends in Rocky Horror was with a better agent, and the guy was at the show seeing my friend, and I was on for an understudy track, and they called me in, and then I was with that agency, which was better for like, everything is 9s for me today, another 9 years. And then since then I've been like freelancing and trying to find the right home. It's tough though.
No? Okay.
But you can do mailings. I don't know exactly how physical mailings is what I used to do as well. Just if you don't have a showcase, you get your headshot and resume, you mail it to people, and you send them a nice note, and stuff like that.
I mean, there are also agency websites where you can email them now.
See, you're teaching me something here.
How was it like, I guess, stepping into an existing role? But I mean, you're in the ensemble. You originated a role in the ensemble, and then you stepped in to a role when you were already in the show, if that makes sense. I mean, that's what you were in Rocky Horror. So like, yeah, I guess this is a very big question, but like, what was that experience like? I don't know how else I would reword it.
Well, a really quick asterisk. After a 9-year journey in Kinky Boots, my dream of life was to get promoted to play Charlie, and I always thought I could, and it didn't work out in that experience. So it can be really difficult and heartbreaking to go through a long time of play the role, 100 times on understudy. But with Rocky Horror, it was the total opposite of that. I covered everyone in the show because it was a really small ensemble. I even covered the whole female ensemble too, because everyone was wearing weird goth makeup and just being kind of like androgynous, strange creatures. But Jared Amick, who played Brad, was a good friend of mine. He deliberately left the show early for me to let me take over his part. Wow. It was a very bizarre thing that I can't imagine happens a lot, but he was just ready to move on. So he left literally 2 weeks before closing, because if you play a role for 2 weeks consecutively, you could say, I played that role. It's sort of like a technicality. So in that case, I was too young for the role of Brad, but I did well in it, but it was just like, I don't feel that I truly took over the role, because it was kind of just, and he would stand up and watch the show and heckle me. And it was very bizarre, but awesome.
Any question? We have a minute 40 left. Any last questions? Yes, no? All right. Okay.
How are you guys? Give me everyone, if you can, or whoever wants to, give me a super quick answer. Like, how are you guys working on your craft and stuff during this weird time?
Yeah. I mean, I've been taking a lot of Zoom dance and master classes, whatever.
Awesome.
I can.
Nice. Sarah?
I'm taking piano and voice lessons at a place, and I'm also doing tons of master classes too. I have one in like 2 weeks. No, actually, it's on October 31st with Deanna Steingold.
Awesome. Abby?
I take classes every night at a conservatory for like acting, and then like I have a Broadway class, and then I have singing lessons on Tuesdays. So
That's awesome. See, use your time. If we can all be using our time to come out of the other end of this thing, like beefed up, more diesel performers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see if Olivia has her hand raised up, but
No, but I mean, Olivia and I are doing a show right now. We're in
Oh, really?
the Addams Family together.
Sweet.
So you're getting ready. It's so early.
I have to start getting ready. I want to keep listening.
That's awesome that you guys are performing somewhere physically during this whole madness.
Yeah, so we're doing an unmasked show, but it's outdoors, and they socially distanced the whole thing.
That's amazing.
That's
good to hear.
so fun. Yeah.
Congrats on that. Have a good night. Have a good performance or rehearsal or whatever you got tonight.
All right. We can all leave the breakout room now. Thank you.
What do I do for this? Do I say leave room or do I click return to main session?
Return to main session.
Okay, cool.
So sorry to cut you off there, Adam.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was trying to speed through.
No,
But,
it's
I
okay.
guess
It's just it sucks that we have limited time because yeah.
Yeah. Zoom
It's-
has the ultimate control.
All right. So Eli, you're muted. If you want to unmute and talk,
Guys,
that's
I'm
cool
trying to
too.
talk. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, so I'm with Adam, Tessa's with Jeff, and Maya is with Morgan.
We
That's
meet
all.
again. Have fun, you guys.
And I'm going to join this one. Yes. Okay, this is so fun. Okay, so I mean, I mentioned this in the last session, but Olivia and I are in Addams Family together right now. I am Mal.
Really?
Olivia is Wednesday. So that's fun. We're doing.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're doing it outdoors at a park. But we are socially distant and unmasked. But I mean, they're handling it well. So
Yeah. Hey, and that's like super lucky for you guys that you get to actually do a show and be doing it live. You don't have to do it over Zoom. I have my own insane frustrations with Zoom as a vessel for theatricality. That's awesome. Congrats.
it's so fun. We have our third performance tonight. So we talked a little bit about before with the others stepping into a role, but what is it like and what's the process like originating the role?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm very lucky to have done that twice. I think the most exciting and working on any new work, depending on what point you get to work on it from. I was lucky enough to work on it from for both shows, from a reading to a workshop to then an out-of-town production to then Broadway. And so for both Shrek and Addams Family, it was about a 2-year process for each one. And during that time, you just get such a great opportunity to watch the show develop. It changes so much in those periods that it changes, how you approach the role, how you perform, and working with the creative minds behind the show. You're working directly with the writer, you're working directly with the composer, you're working with the original director, who is basically on the same team as the writer and composer in that situation. and you are getting a lot of insight into the character, into the production, into so many things. It's really very fascinating and a lot of fun. Yeah, originating role is great.
Any questions? I'll open it up now. Sarah?
This is a two-part question. So, first part, how old were you when you first made your Broadway debut? I don't know what I just said.
Broadway debut. How old were you when you made your Broadway debut?
Yeah.
Right, sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out there. I'm stealing Wi-Fi from a Best Western next door right now, so I'm sorry about all this. But I was 9 years old when I made my Broadway debut.
So you probably fell in love with Broadway like when you were younger. So like, were you born in New York? Like, did you start early?
Yeah. I was born in Connecticut, actually, right outside New York. I grew up in a very musical family, very artistic. What?
Where'd you grow up?
Where in Connecticut?
Yeah.
In Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Yeah, I'm in Wilton.
Do you know it? Is somebody here from? Oh, no way. Yeah, from Westport.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. All right, that's pretty funny. And you're doing a show outside right now?
Yeah, I'm doing it in Brewster, New York. So.
That's insane. It must be freezing. I thought you must be in like Texas or somewhere. Anyway.
Oh, it's so nice. It shouldn't be this late in October.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Well, back to the question.
Right.
I did fall in love with theater very early in my life from a very young age. I came from a very musical family, and every night we spent singing musical theater songs with my brothers and my parents around a piano for hours. And so I just really loved it from a young age. And yeah, by seven years old, I was doing my first show.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so young for Broadway.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No? Who is your favorite person, like your favorite celebrity to work with? I mean, you've worked with a lot of big people on Broadway, Brian Darcy James, Nathan Lane. Do you get the point?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite really. When you work with so many talented people, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one and just say that I feel very lucky to have been able to work with so many different talented people who were each able to teach me something different. I think maybe one of the best of those experiences was working with Nathan Lane, because he is a very generous person, and he understood that I was quite new to theater, quite new to being on Broadway and having as large a role as I had in that show. And he gave me a lot of tips on performing, on comedy, which is obviously his forte. He is one of the greatest comedic actors to work on Broadway, definitely working now and probably of all time. And he gave me a lot of just phenomenal tips about how to use comedy, how to be a comedic actor, how to perform on a Broadway stage. But so did everybody I worked with. And I feel really lucky to have been exposed to such great talents.
Mm-hmm. All right. Lisa.
What did you major in college? Or did you go to a college for music?
I majored in theater. I did not go to college for like a conservatory program. I went to just a liberal arts college, but we did have a theater department. I majored in theater. We have a special thing called modified majors, which is sort of like I call it a glorified minor. So I was theater modified with film and media studies, and then I also did a minor in computer science.
Sarah?
Yeah, I had to cover all the bases.
That was a really odd question. What would you, if you could have any role on Broadway, what would it be if you could just have it in a snap?
There are a few roles that I'd really love to play. I think I would love to play Che in a V, even though I think it's a play for a number of reasons. I would also love to play Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. And recently, I've become very much obsessed with the music from Titanic. It is one of my favorite all-time Broadway scores. It is just incredibly well-written music, and I cannot remember the name, but the one who is like the, what's it called, the telegraph writer, and he sings the gorgeous song "The Night Was Alive." I would love to play that role. I would also love to play the Brian Darcy James role in that show, or the Michael Cerveris role in that show, if I could ever sing it for the life of me, but I definitely could not. So I'll sit those ones out.
We're gonna end in 30 seconds, so any last questions? No. Okay. No? Yes? Great. Favorite, or actually, not favorite, but like any onstage mishaps from either your, or any shows that you've done?
Yeah, definitely. I was saying this in an earlier session, somebody asked me if I ever messed up, and yeah, there was a time I forgot my lines on stage. That is always like a crazy time, super embarrassing, but you get over it and you push through, and then you remember them for the next show, and that's fine. Shrek was an incredibly technologically advanced show, and the tech broke all the time. And there were, I mean, at least 10 times where we had to hold the show for a half an hour so they could fix the turntables or something else. And they would send Brian Darcy James and Daniel Breaker out in costume, like in front of the curtain, to like make jokes and talk to the people in the audience so that they didn't get upset or bored while they were waiting. That was always interesting. And there was one time in the Addams Family, and there was a scene where Nathan Lane would crack a bullwhip, and one time it flew back and hit him in the lip, and it really like hurt. And he tried to continue the scene, but like had to keep stopping to like touch his lip. Actually, it was a scene with Gomez and Mal and Terrence Mann kept going, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? And finally, Nathan said, you know what, forget it. Let's just move on to the next scene. And they just went to the next scene and ended that scene early, which was pretty funny, sort of a once in a lifetime experience you only get on Broadway.
Right, and I mean, those lucky people that were in that audience then. All right.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome for them, actually.
Thank you for talking with us. We are going to return back to the main
Thank
room and wrap
you.
it up.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Haha, I'm muted. I think they are going to wait the last 50 seconds, so if anyone has any actually last questions, just go ahead and unmute. I'm not gonna call on you.
What's your favorite song? Oh, they're already coming, but what's your favorite song in the Addams Family?
In the Addams Family, maybe Pulled or One Normal Night or Crazier Than You. Those are probably my three favorites. Those are good songs.
We did an amazing Crazier Than You yesterday. Oh my god.
Ooh.